house smoking up in here. Y'all already know what time it is. I got the black V-neck on. What's going on, y'all? Welcome to another King of Reads video. Happy Thursday. I hope y'all are enjoying y'all week. We have some things to discuss. This is probably going to be a two-part King of Reads video because I didn't give y'all all the stuff Tuesday, so I definitely will be dropping it for y'all Thursday, period. So a lot has been going on. We got to talk about the person who was responsible for Emmett Till's thing passed away, and girl, child, I have some thoughts on that. Also got to talk about situations and stuff that happened up north in New York. And I honestly been thinking about just doing a separate video about that because like the way that like white people have been moving and policing black folks, and we see it on video. Like I saw a video of a white man stopping these shoplifters, and it was a black girl, and he just like started beating on her and stuff. And it's just like, like you are a civilian, like you're not even a security guard, and security guards get told don't do that. All these clothes and stuff in the store is, you know, insured. So the fact that you stop, like it's not about them taking from the store, it's the fact that they're black and they're getting away from a alleged crime. When we've seen wage theft from all of these corporations over the last probably the last like couple of years has been like out of control. Like wage theft is up, but nobody's talking about that because we're used to folks like companies and stuff stealing from us. I mean, look what's going on right now in California, in LA, where when it comes to the writer strike in LA. Another conversation, another video we get into. What else is we gonna be talking about, girl? Real Housewives Atlanta season trailer dropped. We've gotten some stuff with Martell and Sheree. Oh, it's a lot. We gotta talk about the Met Gala. A little, you know, a little what's the name on the Met Gala. We gotta talk about Brian McKnight and his whole situation with his kids. Some other things, because y'all was mourning Jerry Springer, and y'all don't remember how anti-black and how he was out here. Woo. But we're gonna get into all of that. But before we get started, let's go ahead and get into this mental health check-in. Mental health check-in, I'm gonna keep it very cute and quick. I'm doing really, really good. I did have a situation that happened this past weekend. I shared it on my Patreon. That kind of like shook me to my core a little bit. It was like a reminder of how like desirability and stuff move. And I'm just so thankful for the patrons and stuff for like us having a conversation and talking about it. In my weekly journal that I do, like House Martell and House Lannister, like we be really getting into some things. So if you know have the funds, please sign up for it. And it was like I felt like I should be feeling worse than what I am, but since I am in treatment for my depression and anxiety and all this other stuff, I am feeling like good. I'm feeling good about a lot of things. Like I feel good about the things that are going on in my life, and I'm staying productive and staying on my stuff because sometimes situations like throw me off balance, but I've been consistent. I've been consistently going to the gym, been consistently trying to go to bed, getting my 8 hours of sleep, so I feel really, really good. And I am thankful for where I am at, and I hope that I can share some of that energy with y'all, period. So let's go ahead and get to the tea for today. So let's start off real quick. Jerry Springer passed away, and you know, everybody was out here mourning, everybody was feeling some type of way, It was just a big thing on social media. Folks like, oh my gosh, like I enjoyed watching him. It was a nostalgia moment for a lot of people. Like, oh my gosh, like, you know, Jerry Springer. I remember watching him in like middle school, high school, whatever, when, you know, I was sick and I didn't go to school. I stayed at home, or it was a situation where we were sitting in homeroom and the teacher turned the TV on and it was playing and stuff. So a lot of folks had the nostalgia moment. So it kind of reminded me of the discourse around Harry Potter, how, you know, folks were, you know, continuously watching the Harry Potter movies, reading the books or whatever. And like folks, like that's a nostalgia moment for them. And it was like, no, y'all, I shouldn't be out here supporting J.K. Rowling because of all of the like transphobic stuff that she said and like people was just like, that's not a reason why. And it was just funny watching folks defend Jerry Springer in that same situation and naming nostalgia for me. It was just very funny. It was just very, very funny, like a correlation and stuff. Like, both of them are terrible people. I didn't care about Jerry Springer. I don't care about J.K. Rowling. I do have a connection, nostalgia moment with Harry Potter because of how reading the Harry Potter books took me to a different world that was like I was not happy where I was at, and I wanted to escape, and I escaped into the Potter universe and stuff. But I'm not playing any of the Harry Potter games and all the other stuff. But I'm not dragging folks who are playing it. Like, I don't get it. Like, I don't get folks who need to share that they playing a game. I don't get it. Some folks be wanting to be dragged. I don't know what that's about. Maybe that's a kink for them. But I'm like, you can just easily just not talk about it publicly. But some people be wanting to be in the moment. So, I guess that's it. But Jerry Springer, he introduced us to a lot of, like, transphobia, a lot of anti-blackness. He used to have, like, these poor folks fighting on TV, making up stuff, stereotypes about black folks and stuff. It was just, a lot of the TV was like harmful. We shouldn't have been watching some of that stuff. And I know folks are like, oh, we so sensitive now. But it's like, that stuff reinforced ideals and stuff and how we felt, how we see trans people, like, as a joke, how we, like, it was just not it. It was just not it. And I was like, I didn't get it, but, folks were connected to the nostalgia moment, which I do get. But I'm not mourning no white man. I'm just so sorry. I'm just not using Tamira token for that. I don't have any Tamira tokens, to be honest. But the girls be ready to swipe their Tamira American Express. And I'm all about my Tia Black American Express. Black card, period. But let's move on. Let's talk about some other stuff. Some more controversial things. Somebody named yesterday and said that they had one word to describe me would be controversial. And they do not watch my YouTube videos, but that was hilarious, period. So without talking about it, but talking about it, there was a situation that happened in New York where this white man was, on the train. He was a former Marine. I think he was 24 years old. And there was this black man who was known like as a street performer. And he was having a moment on the train. He was shouting or whatever. And this white man felt the need to stop him and, like, put him in the chokehold and all the other stuff. And I saw a little bit of the video. It was just very, very disturbing. It was very disturbing seeing how certain people were moving around and trying to justify this man's, like, death and, like, oh, he shouldn't have been doing this and that and da da da. It was completely disgusting. And it's almost as if it's almost as if, like, the Black Lives Matter movement didn't mean anything. It's as if putting the Black Lives Matter picket in front of your, the sign in front of your window, in front of your house, or, like, in your bio absolutely meant nothing, because this white man out of nowhere felt the need to compel and constrict this black man's, like, airway, like, to choke him out, because he's a Marine, like, he's stopping the day, like, this. What are you, like a vigilante, like, justice situation? Like, girl, who are you, Batman? Like, it made absolutely no sense. Like, he was not endangering anyone. He wasn't putting his hands on anybody, but this person felt the need to subdue him and stop him. And it's like, girl, like, what? So if we're saying things like this are okay, then we're justifying white people feeling uncomfortable and scared that they can take someone's life. And that is completely dangerous. That is dangerous. Like, that goes to what happened with Ralph last month, where a white man felt uncomfortable, felt scared, and felt like, oh, I had to defend myself. It's just like, oh my gosh. Like, it's disgusting. Like, seeing this commentary around it, it's like just a disregard for black life. And people just, being okay with it. Like, oh no, he wasn't supposed to be doing this and justifying his death. It's just like, no. Girl, like, just so many thoughts, but just seeing it and just seeing the conversation around it. Because without, like, seeing it, I thought that someone was in danger. I thought he had put his hands on somebody or was, like, beating up on somebody and they stopped him. But it was just him shouting on the train. Like, yes, somebody shouting on the train doing something. Let me tell you something. If someone with social anxiety, when them girls be on the train doing the most, I would be like, girl, let me off this thing. But it's never to the point that I have to put somebody in a chokehold because I'm uncomfortable. Like, what? And it just goes to this thing. White people feel like they have the power. They've been taught that they have the power to control situations like that. The video I saw of the black girl, shoplifting out of a Marshalls or something, like subduing this, like you seeing white people stopping black folks from doing stuff, like you should be doing this. And it's like, if you truly cared about quote unquote crimes, you would be worried about the wage theft that a lot of these companies have been doing. There's just a story out of San Francisco where a Marriott banquet, the staff was not paid, like they were, the tips and stuff that were supposed to go to them were not received. Like $7-9 million was not given to these folks. Like they end up suing, they end up winning. It's just like the jury sided with them, like, no, you need to pay these people. Like this company was, putting like this 20% whatever gratuity or whatever service charge on the bills for banquets. And I used to work in banquets, and the people who would pay this would think that, I don't need to leave any cash tips because the service charge pays for that. And the company was like, oh no, that goes to us. That goes to us. Like, hello? So these workers were not making any money. I remember I used to work in the Marriott and banquets, and they actually changed where it used to be a certain percent of the sales were given to the banquets folk. Like it was the certain amount of the sales was given. They changed that. They changed it, and while I was working there, I was making, I think, probably like $700-800 a week. This was back in 2005. Minimum wage was probably still $5.15. I was making close to $1,000 each week. Period. That's a lot of money around that time for somebody my age who did not have any like bills like that. I was making like money that adults were making. But it changed after they, changed the thing where they only had like the percentage was low. And it's just like, girl, like these companies squeeze every dollar out of working class folks. Like we see that with the writer's strike going on right now in LA, like every dollar is being extrapolated. Like every dollar is given to the company, like Disney, all these like big Netflix, these big time CEOs who are white men are getting $20-30 million salary every year. That's probably not even including bonuses. And they are out here not wanting to pay writers, not having them full-time employed, not having them benefits, not all that other stuff. And it's just like, for what? For what? The writers are the people who are making these shows and these movies and all of these things flow. Without writers, a lot of these shows and stuff will not be able to be told. Like they would not be good. They would just not be good quality of work. And also just how these big major corporations have so much power over media. How much power they have over media, like these layoffs from these folks who were telling these stories about like injustices and things that are going on are now gone. Like for-profit media, like it's changing. And like the stories that need to be told are not going to be told anymore. You have all these layoffs, all these companies who were telling stories and talking about injustices, all these things is going on. And now they're laying off all these people. So it's just like, who are telling these stories? Who are now the stories being told? I just gave you all an example in my last King of Reads video of how, like when it came to Don Lemon, being fired and stuff, how CNN is moving towards like right-centered. Like they're moving towards the right. They're not moving to the center, they're moving to the right because they want the demographic that Fox News gets. They want that demographic because they want that income, they want that money. You don't have the income coming in anymore. Your bills are being affected. So they want that money. So stories are being told differently when it came to the conversation about the railroad workers and how they were asking for just a living wage and more sick time because, hey girl, y'all are working the hell out of me. They've laid off so many of these railroad like workers and stuff, and like what are we seeing now? Like these disasters and like lines running off. Like girl, these companies are trying to do everything in their power to make as much money as possible, and they're taking away from working class folks. So when CNN was telling this story, they made it seem as though the railroad workers were asking for too much. They were saying if they continue to boycott, it will train wreck the economy, which is like, it will cost us so much money, everything will go up. Stuff is still going up. Things are still going up. Like people keep talking about stuff. Oh, if we raise the minimum wage stuff don't go up. Things are going up now. Girl, right now, like HBO Max is transitioning to Max, and they finna charge us how much? $2, $3. Netflix then went up. Everybody's jumping up. It's to the point now, if you pay for all these streaming services, you're paying the same amount we was with cable. We're probably paying even more, to be honest. So it's like, we were paying like $100, $200 a month. Girl, $10, $20, $30, $40 here. You can't have but 2 TVs on. Like, they are going to get they are already doing it. They are already doing it. So it's just like, it's really sad. It's a mess. Like, it's a fool. So yeah, that's how I think about that. Facebook just canceled Red Table Talk. And as many things I've had to say about Red Table Talk and how Jada and them were moving on that, I do think some of the conversations were good. There were some good things, but Facebook is laying off. They're cutting budgets. Like right now, I'm wondering, there's always this thing I do every year for YouTube. And I was just talking to another creator that I'm wondering, are they going to reach out to us this year to do it? Usually every year, like they ask us to participate in this thing and they compensate us for it, but I have not received an email. But normally it's around this time. It's around it's probably like the end of this month, but I've not received an email. I'm like, girl, where the email at? Like where the coin at? Where the coin at? But these folks have been slashing things and stuff, so that's what's going on. The writer's strike, I've talked about that a little bit. I wanted to get into that, but yeah, like this thing is happening because cable has changed. Like ad revenue and stuff has changed. Like these companies are now doing streaming services and they're making money off of subscriptions. And the laws and how these writers and stuff were compensated were for like before the streaming era. So things have to adapt and change with the times. It's just like, hey, majority of people are watching streaming services, so it's like y'all are bringing in money from this. We need a cut of this share. And like these folks need a living wage. I know it's been a big conversation about, oh, these folks make a lot of money. And they don't need that much money. They're asking for a lot. It is very expensive to stay in LA. It's very expensive to work some of these jobs. Like $75,000 can be a lot in certain areas, but $75,000 in LA is not a living wage. I remember this conversation that happened last week where folks were saying that they can live comfortably off $1,000 a week. And I was like, comfortable is the key word here. Comfortable is the key word here. Yes, a lot of folks are making less than that and making it work, but the key word is comfortable, because in all actuality, we all should have 3 to 6 months worth of savings to pay all our bills if something was to happen. And with $1,000 a week, a lot of people, that would be, if any emergency was to happen, if anything was to change, you would be check to check. You're already check to check. A lot of us are check to check, unfortunately. So it doesn't mean that, oh, y'all are not spending money right. It's just things are very expensive. Like the common 1-bedroom apartment in Atlanta is what, $1,200 to $1,500 in the city. And the jobs who are paying this, you probably have to work close to the city. You doing specific things where you need to be close. So even if you stay outside, you're paying like cheaper rent outside of the city, you're still wear and tear on your vehicle. You're putting gas on it. You have to get more oil change, more tires. That is why $1,000 a week is not comfortable for a lot of people. You want to be comfortable to the point that you're not worried about if you was to miss a check or two. If you are worried about not getting your 40 hours and you need every check, that's not comfortable. And that's not dragging folks per se. The conversation is we should all be making enough to be able to provide the basics. A house, roof over our head, healthcare. Healthcare, that stuff is expensive as hell. My HIV medication costs probably like anywhere from $1,000 to $2,000 a month. That's not even including how much it costs to test my blood and all the other these tests and stuff to make sure that my blood and my kidneys and all function and all that stuff. That stuff is expensive, and I had to pay out of pocket for it. So it's just like, we need to rethink and ask and demand more, because there's no reason why minimum wage is still at $7. It's no reason. It's so bad now that even like $15 is not enough in most cases. moving on, I want to talk about Brian McKnight. Girl, Brian McKnight has been getting chewed up. Brian McKnight, they is coming for you, sister. They are getting you, sister. Brian McKnight has been getting chewed up about how he's been, like, his children don't mess with him. They do not fool with Brian McKnight. He's been doing some very shady stuff. He's been talking about these biracial kids, these kids that he had are his real kids and all that other stuff. He's not talking about his other children and stuff. And he tried to accuse one of his kids from like stealing from him or something, like accused him of doing something, and was sued. Like one of the kids like sued him and said like Brian McKnight was out here saying, from what I read, that one of the kids were having some type of relationship or something with a family member or something. They sued him for libel. Like, girl, you suing him. He lost that. Brian McKnight is not a good person. Like, girl, and I remember seeing this video. On Twitter of this man talking about like his daughter being disrespectful when she goes out the house. Come to find out, he recently tweeted and shared the screenshot of his daughter calling him fat and like, you need to talk to your husband. This is the same man. He tweets about his daughter consistently. Like, I don't want to, having a daughter is like, you know, the worst thing and da-da-da-da. Like, he does not, no, one of your child does not like you. No shade. There were moments where I did not like my mama. There was a couple of times like when I was trying to grab this bitch. Like, but I love and care about my mama and I love talking to her. I just got off the phone before recording this video. So it's like, adolescents, they're not gonna like you. You are the person who's making rules, setting rules, and doing all the other stuff. So they're not going to like you sometimes. But the reason why your daughter don't like you is because you're very nasty. And the reason why Brian McKnight's kids don't like him because he's very nasty. They're not spoiled. They're not asking for too much. Brian McKnight is just a nasty person. Y'all don't treat y'all kids right. Y'all do not treat y'all kids right at all. And you wonder why these children, once they're no longer financially like dependent on you, they're not close to you no more. They don't want to be around you. Like, and that's a real thing.